Good afternoon. Okay, today I'm going to be talking about why you should give blood. Okay, just before I get started, how many of you have actually given blood before? A fair number of you. How many of you actually know your blood type? Okay, fewer than that. Okay, the major blood types in the U.S., well, anywhere, actually, any human race is A, B, AB, and O. And then there's the negative and positive versions of each. And in the U.S., there are 313 million people, and these are the percents of each one. I am actually A negative, so there is only 6.3% of them in the U.S., which is why the blood bank basically harasses me every month. It's really annoying. Okay, my first time giving blood. It was just after my 16th birthday because my high school always had a blood drive in November. And I was completely excited because I wanted to give blood, and I don't really know other than why I was excited. I went through the test. They checked my pulse. They asked me all sorts of questions, very personal questions too. And then they pricked my finger, which most people say is the worst part, but it didn't hurt at all. And then after I passed through all of that, I went to the cot where they would take my blood, and my friend Kiernan, which is actually the one with the dark long hair next to the blonde girl, which was there to help me and was there to hold my hand, and she was part of the ASB, which I really don't know why they were there other than that, and they had to hold our hands and protect us from fainting after we gave blood. And literally, I kid you not, she had a bruise for like 2 weeks after because I squeezed her hand so hard when they put the needle in, because I have a ridiculous fear of needles. And then I went to the recovery area and ate like 3 donuts. Why should you give blood? Okay, every 2 seconds someone in the US needs blood, which means by the time I'm done with this presentation, several thousand people will need blood. And 1 in 7 people entering a hospital actually needs blood. So that's also a very big number. And then 1 pint, they take 1 pint of your blood. 1 pint can stay as whole blood, or it can be separated into its components of red blood cells, platelets, plasma, cryoprecipitated AHF, which can also help more people than you can think of. And that is actually blood separated in that little animation there. Okay, before I go on to the next part, this picture is actually kind of crazy. 3 in every 100 people in the US actually donate blood. So there's about 15 people in here. That's maybe 5 people have donated blood, and will keep donating blood. And then 1 pint can save 3 people. So the five people that donate blood then save 15 people. Not 15. Yeah, 15, huh? Okay, back to this. Giving blood can actually be good for you. It can get rid of old blood cells, which will make your body produce new ones, and new blood cells can actually carry more oxygen than your old ones. So other than getting rid of them, your body makes new ones, which actually work better. And your body replaces the volume of what you give within 48 hours, which not the blood cells; those come back within 4 to 8 weeks. And it can actually reduce the risk of heart attack. The Florida Blood Service reports that people who donate blood regularly over the years have an 88% lower risk of heart attack and 33% lower risk of severe cardiovascular events like strokes. So it's actually good for you. And men who donate may reduce the risk of heart disease by up to 30%. So really, a pint of blood and maybe an hour of your time can actually save you. And how does it benefit the recipients? Depending on what you give, it actually can have many purposes. Red blood cells can be given to trauma patients or surgeries. The red blood cells alone can be given to trauma, surgery, anemia, any blood loss, and blood disorders such as sickle cell. And since people who are anemic can't give blood because they're low iron content, the red blood cells have iron in them, so this will help them. The platelets, which actually help with coagulation of the blood when you get a cut, they can go to cancer treatments, organ transplants, and other surgeries. Because if you go and get any kind of organ and you any complications, the platelets could help. And plasma is good for blood burn victims, bleeding disorders, and shock patients. So if you get in a major accident and you've lost a lot of blood, they will most likely give you plasma. And the cryoprecipitated AHF is given to people with mostly hereditary disease, like hemophilia and von Willebrand disease, which is a very common hereditary coagulation anomaly. And it's a rich source of fibrinogen, which also helps with wound healing. Okay, the process. Since some of you have given it, and you know it, the first step is registration. You will be asked by a volunteer to sign in, and they will go over the basic eligibility and donate information. You will read lots of pamphlets that tell you all the risks, and you will be asked to show a driver's license or a donor card. I can actually find mine to show it to you, which is good because it's a horrible picture of me. Step 2, a mini physical. You get your pulse checked. They ask you lots of invasive questions about yourself. And then they check your temperature, and they check your hemoglobin levels, which shows if you're anemic or not. They prick your finger, and then they squeeze it, and it's in this liquid, a bluish liquid, which I don't know the name of. I should have checked that. If it drops to the bottom, you're fine. If it stays at the top, they'll reject your blood immediately. Step 3, the actual donation. It takes the actual giving blood part takes about 8 to 10 minutes. My record is 6. My mother's record is like 4. It's ridiculous. She's been giving for long before I was born. And the process is safe and sterile. They actually sterilize the part of your arm just before, so you won't get any sort of bacterial infection from that. And then you just lie there for however long it takes, and then it also depends on what you're giving. Depending on if it's platelets, red blood cells, or plasma, it could take up to 2 hours. The plasma pheresis, which takes out the plasma, your blood is put into a centrifuge and spun around, and then they take out the plasma. That can take up to 2 hours, which my mother has done, and you have a gigantic bruise up and down your arm. But that can save a lot of people. And then the refreshment area, which you get juice, donuts, cookies, all sorts of great things. And basically you sit there for 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes out of school for me when I did it in high school, which was great. Okay, in conclusion, giving blood is not only good for your health, but it actually will save many people's lives. Someone in your family, a family member like your mom or dad, or a friend might need blood someday. So when you're giving blood, just think of them. You're actually saving them. And if you're a universal donor, like O negative, you can give to anyone, but you can only get O negative blood. Also, just think of the people that could really benefit from your donation. I didn't put this in there, but 1 pint of my blood can save 5 infants that if they didn't have my blood, they would die, which is just sad. And then, other than lightheadedness and an empty feeling for a couple of days, you would feel great about it. Thank you.